Well, hello my fellow car modelers. How are you doing today? Well, we are working on another Salvino's JR Models charger. And, well, we are going to talk about getting rid of these pesky ejector pin marks on the bottom here. I've got just a way to handle it, and little to no putty. Little to no putty. So let me show you how I'm going to do that. As of right now, I am not going to let you know what I'm building. It's not a petty car. It is not a, I mean, you name it. You name what you think this might be. As a matter of fact, I tell you what, in the comments below, you tell me what you think, what charger I'm making. And none of you guys that I told you what it is, you better not cheat and say what it is, because you'll make me cry. But, yeah. I got working on this thing, and I got the chassis kind of going and built, and let's see, the roll cage is not attached. Let me get this baby out, which I haven't built one of these yet. I have built the Monte Carlo, and I have found that the chassis, although pretty much the same chassis as far as under, you know, this part of it all, but the roll cage is totally different for the charger, and it fits real well. It went together really good. I really like what it looks like. But of course, the way I did it, I don't follow the instructions because I plan on putting it together, painting it, and then putting everything out. I don't glue this in, but when I am putting it together, what's really cool about this chassis, how it works, or the roll cage that is you basically use the chassis platform as the jig for putting your roll cage together, but just don't glue it down here, and then when you got it all together, take it apart for painting. So we're just going to concentrate on the bottom of this, so I'm going to set that aside, and well, you know what, let me get my trusty handy dandy little rotisserie out, and we are going to show you what I'm going to do to get rid of all these ejector pin marks. These are the marks that are on the mold, that there's these little ejectors that pop out, you know, when the casting's been done and they pop them out of the mold. These things push out and eject, and they're spring loaded and go out, and that's what you get these little round marks from. It's just a necessary evil in mold making that we have to contend with. We got them, so we're going to get rid of them. If you're doing a model, especially at show level, like I did my other one, I didn't worry about it because I was not really concerned about the underside. But if you want to do a highly detailed one, whether it's for show or for your personal pleasure, by all means, you know, you want to get rid of those. You'll be just much more satisfied with your end results. All right, so we got it set, and rotate it around and look at it flat on like that. So okay, now the best way to handle this is I'm not even going to scrape these things or do anything with them. I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to take some masking tape, go ahead and put the masking tape on just this section of it, and basically what I'm doing on this side, I'm just going to take care of this area. And another thing of what this will do is these caverns here that are there because of this bracing that's molded in on the top. Well, we popped out a little bit. Right there, you kind of want that all covered up too. So what I'm doing is going to help with that. So let me get this tape all on. We've got this tape on here. Now what I'm doing, why are you using tape? I'm going to trim this out, and you can see, you take your fingernail and you just get really in there real good on your boundaries. Basically, I'm just wanting to make a piece of plastic that's going to fit right in this whole area and cover this all the way up to right about here where the spring mount is. And there we go. You get in there and you just take a nice sharp X-Acto blade and cut away. Keep it nice and straight. Follow that line we're just going to go, there's the, let's get this side over here. Let's see, where do we want it? Get that really in there. Get right up against that line and follow it. And I'm just going to take it to right about there and cut it across there. You see what we got? That whole area that's covered up. You see what we're going for? Pretty easy. Now, go ahead and peel this piece of tape off. Move on to the next part. So the next step is some sheet styrene. This is evergreen product. I use a lot of that. I'm using a very thin one. You can see how almost paper thin this is. I really like it very, very thin. So I'm going to take my piece of tape that's basically my template. I'm going to lay it down as close to this edge as possible, so I don't have any straight edges. And what I like about this stuff is I can actually cut it with a pair of scissors. So let's do that. I'm just going to cut this piece out, following the tape. And this part right here, because it's such a straight shot, I'm actually going to use this. We got that. Just go across like that a couple times. That should do it. And pop that off. Set that off to the side. And with this, I'm going to trim it up with my scissors. Alright, and you know what, just to play it safe, I'm just gonna, just to make sure that these are nice and straight, I'm just gonna hit them real quick with my emery board. Alrighty, and then at this point, take the template off. And if you can actually use this for the other side, or go ahead and measure and do a whole nother taping, but you can actually use this for the other side because they're going to be exactly the same. You just flip it over. So for right now, we'll go ahead and place this onto this piece right here. So that one's ready to go. We'll get to that later.
You're watching the Luka Cee channel on YouTube.
Okay, we're back in with the rotisserie. We've got our little job knob right there, and see that? That'll lay right where we want it. And actually, to tell you the truth, I might want to trim it just a smudge, I think. If we put it right there, yeah, it's kind of overlapping into this little spot right here. I'm going to give it a little cutting. I'll use the lines on the mat. Alrighty, so we got that. Hit that end with the emery board real quick. And we'll throw this on right here and take a little test. Yep, that's exactly where I want it. And right there, see what it does? It fills in now this space here, that space right there that you got, and there, all your ejector pin marks vanish. We're going to put a little glue on there. What I'll do is just dab a little. Now, one thing that I probably would suggest, especially when you're using this thin, we're going to see if you don't press down too hard, you won't have those ejector pins show back up. If you press too hard in there, they're going to pop through this thin plastic. Now we're looking good. See that? Ta-da, vanished. Watch your instructions on things where things go so you don't cover it up. Like right here, that hole is going to have to be kept because your exhaust goes into these two holes here. Make sure you don't go over these areas right here. That's why I took it to right there, because that's where your spring perch is, and you have a cross member that goes across here. You can go ahead, you could put a piece in these little square areas all across in there if you like. Here, that's probably what I'm going to do, and it's just a simple fix. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and finish this all up, and we'll show you what it looks like. Alrighty, so I've been working at it and forming, and you see I've got these inner pieces in, and I've done a little bit of changing. I decided not to go up over this because this is raised more higher than the floor pan here, so I decided to come up against it right there and just do a little wrap around. And then this inner piece here kind of had a little piece that we had to just cross over into here, and it was just basically I did the same thing. I laid tape down and I cut out the pattern and then cut it out onto my sheet plastic here with my Ejector knife. Now I can just like take a emery board here, and so it planes it nice and smooth and get it to fit properly and look like it's a part of the floor, like it was meant to be there. We'll work on that, do a little bit of sanding on there, and that is pretty much it. You know, you just go ahead and get those things filled. No more injector pin marks. You can see I cut that hole out. It was pretty easy. I held it up to light. I could see where the hole was. Stuck my X-Acto blade in there and just did a little twirl, and I got my hole there for the exhaust port or tab or whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sand these up. But one other thing that I'm going to do, which you can choose to do, again, this whole thing is the point of not having to use putty. I am going to, these injector pins, I'm going to use this neat little tool I bought at Andy's Hobby headquarters. Tamiya puts them out. I know this, I think this was from Squadron, but this is a scraper. It's really great for tight spots and taking off ejector pin marks, and I'll tend to use that, which I've used this in other videos of how to remove stuff like this, and I just plane it right off. And lots of times you can get away with not having to do putty, especially these ejector pin marks that are outward. The ones that pop in, yeah, you're gonna have to putty. But when they're outward like that, you can just scrape away and get rid of them pretty easy. And just, well, you want to be light. You don't want to put a lot of pressure on it. Just peel it off. You don't want to dig into the plastic. I've done videos like that before. Go ahead and check those videos out. I've got that, like taking off the injector pin marks and taking off the copyright. It gets rid of it really well, planes it right off. I'm probably going to do that with these, and this is the only area that I'm going to put filler in. So I'm going to go ahead and keep working on this and just get this all formed into place where it looks natural. And we're going to be coming back to this model because as I build it, I'm going to bring up updates, and eventually you're going to see this primed and painted, and you'll see how this will look naturally part of the floor when I'm done with it. I've been doing that for years on these chassis from the Monogram and now Salvino's, which this is the Ford one. Salvino's hasn't put that out yet, but from what I understand, I think it's probably going to happen. But you can see right in here, there's always these ejector pin marks there and these crazy little triangular areas. And you know what I do? You know what that is? I didn't even mess with them. I just drop plastic right in there, a little triangular plastic. Boop, done, handled. That's how you get rid of that, and it works out perfect. So I hope this helps you out. I hope this answered some questions, and thank you so much for watching. And well, you know, I'm going to keep on working on this after I shut the camera off. Why? You know, because it's a model car, and you know, model cars, they're fun. That's why we do this, because they're fun. So keep gluing those fingers together. keep cutting that styrene, which I've been doing. I'm cutting the styrene. And we will see you in the next video. Here's the producers.